What's up, guys? It's your host, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Betrayed, Part 5. Let's try to hit 300 to 400 likes. And if you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Seriously, that would help out a ton. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and thank my balance breakers, Juggernaut Drive members as well. Aunt Lewis, Anthony Lewis, Cool Ninja 12, Dark Phoenix, and Lachlan Yates. Thank you so much for becoming a Juggernaut Drive member. And as for my balance breakers, Ziki 2000, Nuga Booga Uga, Seraphal Leviathan, Night Ammo, Scout Clowery, Rob the King, and Native Darkwood, thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker. What If Issei Was Alone did release over on Patreon, so if you guys want to go ahead and see that, it's some unreleased content. That'd be much appreciated. And with saying that, obviously, let's go ahead and thank my Patreon members: Smell Noise, Lachlan Yates, Godkiller, Elton, Mark Bacon, Drake Truly 2, and Logan Kolar. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon member. Seriously, I cannot thank you guys enough. Once again, if you guys want to know where I upload, go ahead and click the little blue button right, subscribe button, the first link at the premiere, or the first link in the description, or the first link in the comments section down below. Thank you for all the support, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate it. I'm not going to bug you with anything else. Let's go ahead and get right into the video. Chapter 7. As Minerva held on to him, he remembered how he said his goodbyes to Rosvisa, Irina, Gabriel, Ravel, Kiba, Tosca, Gasper, Valerie, Sona and her Paraj, Riser and his Paraj, Graphia, Milikis, Orphis, Lilith, and even Yakuza and Kono came. He knows he did not tell them anything, and then figured out that Lilith let it slip when she and Orphis were in Kyoto. He had to scold his little sister to not get bribed by sweets, considering how she and Orphis were the same person in a sense. The difference is that he felt that he spoiled Lilith, which given her more of a childlike mindset. Kono was sad, but she did not call the Motosama as usual. That was because Issei stopped her from doing so. He quietly explained to her that he was not mature enough to be a father, and he was sorry that he would have to leave her. He told her to look at him as a big brother, and that he would return to see her and not to make her cry. He asked her to train to get stronger, as well as he asked Yakuza to train her, because he knew Yakuza herself was as strong as an ultimate glass devil. To appease the little Issei even more, to let her know that he was not abandoning her, he informed Yakuza that if she needed assistance in handling renegades, she should let him know, forming a contract with her. He talked with Milikis as well. Knowing that he was stronger in using the power of destruction than Rias, he told him to train one day lead the clan, and asked Graphia to make sure that he doesn't become spoiled. Of course, knowing his big sister, he knew that wouldn't let that happen to Milikis. He told everyone that they should train and not be complacent, considering that they were still renegades out there. With Gasper bawling on him, he told Valerie to take care of him, and told her to make him wear men's clothes, considering that Gasper was saying that he would be a man in Issei's absence. He gave Kiba a brotherly hug, and told him to enjoy his relationship with Tsubaki. He felt honored to meet Kiba's friend, Tosca, telling her to keep Kiba in check. Although the girlfriend liked Tsubaki, it shouldn't be an issue, something that made Tosca giggle. He also said the same thing to Sanji. While the dragons talked manly to each other, he gave a hug to the rest of Sona's Paraj, telling them to take care. Surprisingly got a kiss on the cheek from Rhea. She claimed that she didn't really get to thank him for outing a few days ago. He kissed Rosvisa, Ravel, and Irina, and gifted them with gold bracelets. Of course, when kissing Ravel, that was interrupted by Riser. Issei joked about him calling him Nissan in the future, which did make Ravel blush because he indirectly declared that he would marry Ravel, similar to before when he talked with Riser in a hallway. He told him to look after her, to which Riser agreed and gave him a hug. For Gabriel, he informed her that he holds no faults against the angels, since he was informed that Irina, that Michael, and Gabriel stood by him. It made the Seraph glad and gave him a hug, blessing his relationship to Irina. He did not tell her where he was going, but she understood his decision not to. Same with Yakuza, knowing it could compromise her if the factions went looking for him. After saying his goodbyes, Sikivaria and Alivian escorted him and his parents, who came back to see who Issei's true friends were. He had to begin to settle in, and found a letter from Ravel. He figured out Ravel's gift to him was a new wardrobe, now making sense why she took his new measurements. He did feel a little offended that she called his clothes old and tacky, but she had an eye for fashion, so he would trust her judgment. So, we're going to be seeing your little sister again? Minerva said, snapping him out of his thoughts. Lily-chan, I won't be able to tell you. She likes to visit spontaneously, Issei said. What was he referring to over the first few months before he met Minerva? Lilith took it upon herself to consistently see him. He usually wake up to her snuggling against him. He did try telling her that she should not even doing so because her energy signature could be traced due to powerful being. He wanted to talk with Orpheus about it. Hold on, guys. Um I lost my place for a second. um okay. He wanted to talk with Orpheus about it, but she told him before he looked like Alicia's face father. Due to his change, she noted that Issei treated Lilith like his kin and a dragon would, and then said that Lilith's stubbornness came for him. Issei frowned at this, but he bribed Orpheus to watch over Lilith to keep her in check. She agreed to help him, however, that was a lie, as she duped him, gaining free treats for doing nothing. So Issei took it upon himself and gave Lilith his bandana that he started wearing. He explained his conditions to Lilith about giving her his bandana. She frowned at first, but eventually agreed. This was due to Issei's agreement to Yakuza, as every 2 months he would visit Kyoto to see Kyoto's progress. This did lead to him meeting Minerva after he handled some renegades. "What are you still thinking about?" Minerva said. "Thinking about how I met you," Issei said. "Oh." Removing her arms from him, "You were quite hostile in that meeting," Minerva says. "You were a part of the Hexanot. You worked with Quillapoth, my enemy, but you did prove yourself," Issei said, "in more ways than one," rubbing his shoulders. "After all, where would you be without me? Magic-wise, at least. After all, you have gotten better understanding the Valkyrie's book. Her name was Rosvisa, and I guess you are right. Plus, you certainly live up to the name of the goddess that you are named after," Issei says. "Thank you," Minerva says. "It certainly took a while for you to warm up to me." To what she was referring to was that after Issei handled some renegades in Kyoto, he encountered Minerva dealing with her territory magic with something else. He now recalled dealing with the magic like hers before, but he could tell that she was holding back. He felt her demonic aura and believed she was working for the factions. However, she explained that it was not the case, that she was worked for Hexanot, also known as Witch's Night, which was a group of stray magicians that cooperated with Quillapoth. It did not bode well with Issei, but not understanding her magic, Issei decided to retreat. "Like I said, you are my enemy," Issei replied. And you did. "And look what you did. Turn an enemy into an ally, and that ally into your lover, kissing his cheek, or mate. In dragon terms, is that correct, Dreg?" "You would be correct," as the boosted gear activated on Issei's left arm. "You think these monsters have something to do with your former group?" Issei says. "You mean the Hexanot?" "Why?" Minerva says. "Well, when you stalked me, you talked about how you became an artificial demon, but not like a reincarnated demon, as you have no evil pieces." It was true. After Issei had retreated, Minerva followed him, even enrolled herself into the same school as him. She kept her distance from him, but due to her beauty and intelligence, she became quite popular and relatively easily. Issei usually kept to himself, so he did not have any friends. So Minerva shined the spotlight on him as she tried to get to know him. When she caught him alone, he didn't have much escape, but she proved that she was harmless as there was no attacks. She could have had him ambushed over months that she had been there, but nothing happened. She talked about herself as they walked in silence. Issei didn't say anything to her. She usually did the talking. She noted how she craved power, which reminded Issei of his former flames. It's a possibility of someone that could have duplicated the process, but it seems more like a necromancy in a way. These creatures seem dead and mindless. Yeah, they are relentless. Your territory drain ability doesn't work on them, Issei says. This caused Minerva to frown, as he was correct. Her ability This caused Minerva to frown. Her ability territory drain can imprison a living being inside her space and be able to absorb the captured being's magic power. Issei compared it to Folly's half-dimension technique, but on a smaller scale. However, as they said these creatures were not alive, you must be worried about them, huh? Minerva says. How can I not be? We're in Tokyo, secretly under the reign of the Aguirus clan, yet these things appear in areas where factions would be, Issei said. Oh, you're seriously underestimating us. You're partners. Don't you remember how you developed that technique of yours using the White Dragon's power? Minerva says. I guess you're right. We better go downstairs and eat. She's likely waiting for us, Issei says. Issei remembered what Minerva meant after she wormed her way into his house when he lived with his parents. She found Rosvice's book. She was rather exceptional when it came to magic, and it made Issei wonder what would happen if they had encountered her in the war. It was then that she revealed that she left Hexamat before the war started. Since then, they had been partners in handling missions and killing creatures. They also trained together as well, where he learned that she was an expert in hand-to-hand combat. It felt Issei to have someone that could compete with him. It riled his dragon blood. He had informed Rabble, Irina, Rosvisa about Minerva. While Rabble and Rosvisa trusted his judgment, Irina was skeptical for a while. Rosvisa was impressed that Minerva was able to learn spells very quickly and hoped to one day to meet her. He also found out that Rosvisa was successfully traded to Sikiveros Parash, thanks to Rias' negligence of being so hopelessly in love with Devlin. After that, Issei didn't hear anything else about the Gretmari clan, unless he talked with Grafia and sometimes Milikis, but that was more to see how they were doing. I wonder what she made for us today, Minerva said as the two left the room. They walked down the hall and headed downstairs. They could smell the pancakes, eggs, sausage, and bacon that had been made for breakfast. Sitting at the table was a beautiful girl with a lavender purple hair and orange eyes. Her name was Invigold Leviathan. He and Minerva saved her when Issei and Lilith had been drawn to her singing. When they went to the beach, they seemed to be in trance. Invigold was the third person that Lilith cuddled up to, the first being Orphis, then Issei, unfortunately her singing attracting these creatures that had scythe-like hands and horned head. Invigold froze up seeing the creatures. Minerva had to utilize territory explosion technique to make quick work of them. What Minerva did not expect was a tidal wave to come at her. It washed the two creatures along with an unconscious Issei. It did not kill the creatures, but it enraged them. Luckily, the wave woke up Issei, who activated a new lit version of an armor that he trained on, made the balance breaker. It provided his body armed with braces, shin guards, hip protection, and shoulder pad, similar to when Sanji utilizes the pieces of Vitra. With this light armor that he dubbed as Armaments of Red Dragon, he could move more freely. He sent a barrage of flaming fists at the two remaining creatures, and Minerva could not find Lilith, only to see that Orphis had taken her before the tidal wave came. Invigold was dubbed as the Queen of the Ocean and Master of the Dragons by Orphis, and told Issei, or rather demanded, that he should take her. He notified his parents of this as well. It reminded them of how Azia came into their lives. She didn't want to be a burden in their lives, but Issei would not let her leave or fear Orphis's wrath, since Invigold's power could be used against them. She had gotten comfortable in their lives, receiving training in hand-to-hand combat. For Minerva and Issei noted how their relationship was similar to Rias and Azia, but to the extent Invigold had told Issei that she wanted to live in his age, with Issei's accepted her, promising to take care of her as she promised to support him. Morning, Invigold-chan, greeting the girl who was eating. Morning, Issei-san. Then she looked over at Minerva, checking every detail about her before greeting her. Morning, Minerva. Oh, don't worry, Invigold, dear. I'd never go around without you, catching Invigold's eyes. The reason why Minerva had said this is because she and Invigold were both marked by Issei. After a while of being partners, Minerva made her move on Issei. Of course, he rejected her, but Minerva played her cards right. Since Issei was full-blooded dragon, he had mating season, which Minerva calculated was able to get his parents and Invigold out of the house. Placing noise-canceling seals, Minerva let the dragon use her body to fill his lustful desires. However, after he and Minerva did it, it was also his time to say goodbye to Rainier. Flashback. Issei lay in his bed, naked. With the black-haired beauty that was Minerva, he felt proud he was no longer a virgin. He really thought that he would lose to one of the girls back in Ko. He knew he would have to break them into as he started a new relationship. When his room became a white void, he was still in the bed, but rather than Minerva, it was Rainier, which shocked him, as he did not feel her. "What are you doing here?" Issei said. "Well, congratulations, stud. You finally did it," Rainier said, sitting up, caring that she was naked as well. "What? Oh, thanks. You can go now." "I know, this is goodbye, Issei," Rainier says. "Yeah, I know," Issei replied. "No, you don't. I mean this goodbye for good." She had a smile on her face, but it wasn't malicious. It was genuine this time. "I don't understand. What do you mean goodbye for good?" Issei says. "Really, Issei? You never realized it? I'm a figment of your imagination." Rainier said. "What?" Issei replied. He always believed that she was a part of the soul that traumatized him. "When those girls hurt you, you remember? Back in the ORC before your fight against Mr. Lion King? Your thoughts fell back to me. When you saw how they talked about you at the party, you came back to tell me. Why? Well, because you always wondered what I would look like if I was good to you. If you didn't kill that day, what it would have been like if you had a decent girlfriend. And here I was, training you in stealth and teaching you how to make those fire spears, using the basis of making light spears. So all this time, that's how you were good to me because I manifested you, Issei said. That's right, and now you don't need me anymore. You finally opened your heart and gave yourself to someone, I must say. When you were in heat, you were a beast in bed, Rainier said, nodding in approval of his performance. You watched all of that, Issei said? Oh yeah, well done clapping, but now she will be your garden. Honestly, I was worried that you wouldn't, when you didn't the Valkyrie, Phoenix, or Angel. You loved them, but you couldn't bring yourself to hump. Now, with someone new that didn't remind you of them, you spent months with her. She wants you. She doesn't need power. All she needs is you. So take care of her, Issei. She'll take care of you, too. She leaned in to give Issei a kiss. While he was sure her lips were on him, he didn't feel anything physically. It was like a ghost kiss, seeing it happen, but feeling nothing. Goodbye, Issei, Rainier says, disappearing from his mind as he came back to reality. Congratulations, partner. This is a new step for you, Drake says. Drake? Did you know she was only a memory, a figment of my imagination? Issei said. I thought you knew. When you spoke to her, while your new body was being prepared, I thought you conjured her up, Drake says. I see. She was helpful and she was right. Or I'm right. I think if she was made from good memories that I had of her, which was the date that led to my demise. You can call it your demise, but think of it as a rise to power. You awakened me. You gave me a normal boost in strength in just 2 months. No one can take that away from you, and you're still growing. You know I didn't lie when I said you're my favorite carrier. Keep growing stronger. I'll be with you every step of the way, Drake says. Thanks, Drake. Time to enjoy this new chapter of my life. Pulling her closer to him, and thank you, Rainier. Even though you're a figment of what I wanted you to be in the beginning, you helped me grow and overcome my faults, and for that I forgive you, and may you rest in peace. And that was the end of the flashback. After that, he took it upon himself to treat Minerva right. He could help, but be glad that his sex life was amazing as well. Of course, they had to dial it back, because he still lived in the house with his parents. It didn't help that his parents also got themselves into shape a little more and became more sexually active than Issei wanted, since he could hear them and would book a hotel for the night to not hear the noise. Upon his graduation, his parents gifted him the other house that the Aguirre's clan gave them. It was that Issei remembered that they were given 2 houses and facepalm that he forgot such a thing. It was where he lived both Invigold and Minerva, as his parents lived about a block away from them. Of course, with the places themselves, they could continue their fun, but that was stopped when Invigold walked on Minerva bent over a dining table. What scared Issei the most about the encounter was that Invigold didn't do anything but calmly pack the groceries away and leave her room. She gave both Issei and Minerva the silent treatment. The two gave her the space that she needed as well. Unfortunately, Issei and Invigold were stuck together and ate one of Minerva's special dishes, and like Invigold, Minerva was a great cook, but this one was meant for Minerva and Issei because it was supposed to lead to a fun time together after an in-home date night. Minerva was pleasantly surprised catching the two having sex in the living room, but she enjoyed a good show. It made Invigold even more embarrassed and then directly confessed to have feelings for Issei, but she wanted it to be genuine, not through some laced-up food. This encounter made the three bond, thus leading them to sharing a room in the house. Issei did speak about his relationship to his friends Ko in England, and even the girls were jealous and what actually happened that could open his heart again, as it had been months since he had left. Finished his school year and graduated. Kiba, Sanji, Momo, Rhea, Tsubaya, and Tomo also graduated, but Issei could not be there. Another update that he learned that was Zenobia was a good student council president, despite whatever she said that night. He was also glad that she was taking her responsibility seriously, because if she didn't, it would have affected his friends in the student council. He congratulated Ravel on being the new student council president as well. Now it was halfway into the school year. Issei and Minerva had finished their first semester of college. While Invigold was halfway done with graduation, and since she was foreign beauty like Minerva, she also had rose to popularity. Difference is while Minerva embraced the spotlight, Invigold didn't want it on her and typically kept to herself. But since she trained with Minerva, she could find for herself. So, are you going to look forward to graduation, Issei said, sitting down across from the purple-haired beauty. I guess, though not sure what I should study in the university, Invigold says. Yeah, I followed my Tao-san, looking to work with technology in the business world, so I chose information systems as my major. Issei said, "You should try economics or finance. You handle money the best in the household," Minerva says. "Oh, thanks," Invigil replied, appreciating the praise from her mentor. "Of course, my dear Leviathan." "Knock it off," Issei said. He knew that Minerva was trying to instigate, which was getting Invigil riled up. It's whether the relationship is different from one that he had seen with Rias and Azia, because Minerva and Ingel were also lovers. He knows that because he experienced it firsthand after the food incident. It was the best night of his life, and he will keep that memory to the day he dies, since Minerva liked to tease around Invigold, calling her names among other actions to get the sexual tension going. Issei was not surprised, as demons represented the 7 deadly sins and lust was one of them. He would know he was a pervert, but that side only shows when he was in the bed with his ladies. "Sorry, couldn't help myself," Minerva says, giving off a smirk of defiance. "Anyway, Minerva is right. You can look into it. Maybe talk with my parents. They could guide you. You know?" "Okay, I'll ask them later on winter break," Miguel says. "We should go somewhere, do something fun." "You're right. But what?" Issei said. "How about introduce us to your friends back in Ko? It's been a year and a half since you left the place. You shouldn't worry about your exes. I can simply teleport any of them if they get close," Minerva says. "I don't want to deal with the factions, and I think we should not have to worry about them. They're likely back in the underworld to celebrate the holidays anyway," Issei said. "It is okay to say my last name to them," Invigil says. Not sure. Maybe a select few, but that's it. Aren't you worried about the encounter with your rival after all? He did find you last time," Minerva says. "Well, Albion is always able to detect Drake's energy. It also didn't help that Lilith kept popping up at random. Her energy signature is unique. I don't know what I'm going to do with that Omoto of mine," leaning back in his chair. "It also shows how much she loves you, since she wants to be with you," Imgol says. "I guess." As he began to eat his pancakes, "I'll have to get something for her. Keno and Milikis," Issei said. "The son of Mal Lucifer? How are you going to get a gift to him without the Gremory clan catching you?" Minerva says. "Did you forget you two wanted to go to Ko? I'll check in with Kiba, but first I need to get those gifts." "Oh, some gift shopping? How fun," Minerva says. "Yeah, about that for you, Minerva. You were on lunch duty. I'll be taking Invigold." "Oh, and why can't you leave her with me?" Minerva says with a slowly smile on her face. "Your face says it all. Love, you need to tone it down. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to keep your hands off one of us," Issei said. "Fair enough," Minerva says, as she walked into the living room with her own pancakes, as she enjoyed being able to watch something that ate either a movie or a TV show. Issei watched her go as he looked at the large window, seeing the snow. However, the cold did not affect the temperature of the inside of the living room. This was due to the technology enhancements in the house. The large window showcased the yard heated, and all the windows were there. The fireplace was also on as well. The TV was within the wall, and the fireplace, as Minerva grabbed a remote to the concealed panels. TV, despite the large window, she knew that she had privacy, as her sleep attire, black shorts, and a dark blue t-shirt showed off her body, the shorts displaying her tan-toned legs and the best stretched shirt. Issei could hear whatever she was watching on the TV as he turned to Invigold, who just a little bit more conservatively as their confident lover in the other room. "So what do you think they would like?" "I want to get something for Lilith. It's something other than sweets, which I could hope she's brushing her teeth. I would give Milikis a weapon, but Nissan would kill me," Issei says. "You seem to know what you would get Kano," and Vikul says. "Oh yeah, saw this cute little fox necklace a while ago that would remind me of the little fox princess, so I had to get it. Even though got another one for Yakuza, since she'd been keeping me under wraps from the factions, and I really had never got anything for her for it," as he ate his breakfast. We could get these knit bracelets that I saw for both Lilith and Orphis-chan. Great, that just leaves Milikis." Then he realized that he goes, "I know what I can get him. I'll just speak to Sikibur. Hopefully she can pull through." What do you have in mind?" Vigil said. "That's a secret." Damn, guys. Getting up from the chair with his plate, "We better get ready for the day he had." Imigol brought her plate to sink into Issei to watch. She wanted to do it herself, but Issei wouldn't allow it, so she compiled and left him with the plate she cleaned up at the table. After watching the 2 plates, Issei went to the living room to pick up Minerva's plate as she laid on the couch watching TV still. "You think you can calm your urges while we're away?" "For a few hours that you two are away, I think I can suffice." "Good to know. I'll see you later, my goddess." Getting a kiss on the lips. "I'm not your only goddess, my dear." Don't remind me of that. It was to help Immigrant with her disease." "I know, but you are a man of your word, and it's not that bad. It's like having 2 versions of me with you," Minerva says. "Maybe that's why I regret the deal," Issei replied with a smirk on his face before he ducked to avoid getting hit in the face with a couch pillow. "Go get yourself ready," Minerva said before relaxing on the couch. As he walked away back to the kitchen with Minerva's plate, he created a communication circle to touch with one of his allies. "What can I do for you this time, Hyodo-san?" Subaru said. "Hey, Seek, I need a favor. First off, do not call me that. And I suppose you are due for some compensation for keeping Tokyo safe, especially from Necromorphous." "Necromorphous, huh? That's what the factions are calling them," Issei replied. "Yes, according to the perverted crow, they are dead and morphed from what they once were, which could be anything." "I see. Could you look into your connections with the Valve Corporation? Why?" Seaver says. "I'd like to get a Steam Deck for Milicus. I know your father introduced him to Dumgum and made a mecha fan to relieve his pressure of being a Harris. I figured I could do the same for Milicus. I suppose I can see what I can do. Do you want me to send it to him?" Seaver says. "No, bring it to me. I'll hand it off to Kiba when I head to Ko." "You're going to Ko?" Seaver replied. "Yeah, the ladies would actually like to meet my friends, so you can meet when you drop off to the Steam Deck. I just need to check in with Kiba to see if it's okay to visit." "It should be. I saw the redhead the other day. He wasn't with her, and I don't want any updates about her, but it seems like she got a new piece," Seekenberg says. "Must have been from my pawn pieces," Issei said. "No, it's a knight piece." "A knight? Did Kiba leave? I know he became high class," Issei said. "Anyway, I just thought you should know. I'll look into the Steam Deck. Just let me know when you are leaving for Ko, so I can get it to where you before then. Thanks, take care. Same to you." Cutting off the communication circle, Seaver did. Issei had already finished washing Minerva's plate and heading up to his room to get ready. He figured that Native Gold was ready for herself when the kitchen to get Minerva's plate from her in the living room. Upon entering his room, he didn't hear anything and figured that Immigold was using his former room's bathroom. Even though he shared a room and bed with the two ladies, they still had their own rooms. He quickly sent a text to Kiba before heading to the shower to get himself freshening up for the day after shopping. He still couldn't get it out of his head that Rias got a new piece, or rather Kiba left, as he did not think that she could have let Zenobia go. However, Kiba is stronger than Zenobia, and if Gremory wanted to win, wouldn't she keep Kiba? He decided to not worry about these questions later and focus on his date with Immigold. After cleaning himself and lotioning up his body, he could not help but look at the Ascalon blades he hung on his wall. They were different from before. The blades had a slight reddish hue and red runes across the blade's center. The garden pommel on the more red gold theme, he figured this was due to his body change. He could not help but remember he stopped using his blades and opted for using a twin Sias. Since he was more accustomed to close range hand-to-hand combat, in working with Minerva, he didn't need to worry about long range as she had handled that, plus Immigal added to that. He started using the blades less and less. Minerva gave the twins to him and made sure that he still had some form of weaponry. Issei did not mind the weapons as they reminded him of dragon claws. He added them into his new brutal fighting style. Thanks to his dragon scale-like skin, he had no issues getting up close and personal with the creatures. He never detected any dragon slayer capabilities off of them, so it worked to his advantage. He dressed himself in all black pants, shirt, sweatshirt, socks, and boots. The only exception was the deep red coat that he wore over his sweatshirt. In all honesty, he did not really need all the clothes because of his dragon's body, so he was not really affected by the cold. He still wasn't affected by the heat of the clothes either, but it would be weird to other people seeing him walk around in minimal clothing during the winter. Heading downstairs, he saw that Immigal was ready wearing black leggings under a purple skirt and a dark blue top with a white coat and brown boots. She was in the living room talking with Minerva about a shopping plan. Minerva said to have never left the spot. He did think that she would have used her territory magic to teleport either him or Immigal in the shower. He did not smell any scent of sex, which confirmed that she remained in place. So he was impressed that she was keeping her urges in check. "Ready to go, Immigal?" making his presence known. See you." Minerva-san, getting up from the opposite couch to join Issei. "You kids have fun," Minerva said with a smile as stressed on the couch. "Kids? You're only older than me by a year. Months, at least. We'll be back in a few hours, okay?" Issei said. "I understand. You two stay safe," Minerva says, getting up from her couch to give them a kiss on the cheek as she turned off the TV and went to get ready herself. Issei and Immigal went down to the garage, which was something that he didn't mind about the house. If he had an underground garage, so it was only protected from the weather. If vehicles remained idle, only problem was the garage was very expansive. His parents explained to him that it could fit 17 cars. He did not think he would need 17 cars, considering how he could also use magic to teleport, and not many people lived in houses besides 3 of them. but it had 7 bedrooms and he could make room for one more. He went over to grab the keys of the BMW X5 that was black with a red and vermilion edition that came out. The car had winter tires as well. He didn't want any incidents on the road, even though it was be his driving that his main factor on the road. He could have just transported Emmett and himself to somewhere near the mall they were heading to, but it would be suspicious of the young man and girl coming out of an alley then going back to the same alley again. When he had Imogul got in the car, he pressed the button that opened a ramp up the driveway. He started up the car. Since it was hybrid, it could also give off electric power. He maneuvered the car around the other cars that were there, which was not much, so he was glad about that. He did not have to worry about the money because of this. Former Crowbam that he made royalties off of Ravel notified him. It amazed how she kept the show running without him playing a character. It was still top 10 shows that premiered in the underworld. Of course, Ravel changed the tone and hired new staff. She had told him that the Opie Dragon song was no more and had the name changed to too much joy of drag, and certain characters were removed. The actress who played those characters forgot about the show, so it made it easy for Ravel and her new crew to write them off and to bring in new characters. Okay, Agenda Day is jewelry stores at the mall, Issei said. Imogul replied as she looked out the window. Something on your mind, Issei said, as he drove out the car that the gates secured the house. I'm just wondering what your hometown is like. Only places I have ever been are here in Kyoto, and your friends, I hear you talk about them, so I don't know if they will like me upon seeing me. You haven't met people besides me. Minerva, my parents, Orpheus, Lilith, Yakuza, Kono, and Sekivara. You could have gone with my parents to Hiyakoko. I'd rather not get caught by surprise upon returning home, Imogul says. It was Minerva's idea, Issei replied, trying to defend himself from when Imogul walked in on him and Minerva. You could have said no, Imogul says. True, but who is he kidding? Minerva was gorgeous, so is Imogul, so it'd be hard to say no to either one of them. Minerva knew how to take advantage of her charms. You think those other girls would like me, Imogul said. Other girls? Your other girlfriends, I mean. Yeah, they would. Why? Well, before your parents left, I heard them compare me to someone named Azia and how she hurt you. I don't want to do what she did. You give me love and purpose. I don't want to lose them. And you won't. As for the other girls, Rose-chan would like to meet you and Minerva. She considers you and Minerva prodigies in magic. You're the opposite of Ravel-chan because she uses fire magic. She may see you as a rival. Finally, Irina-chan, she is my guardian angel in a sense. She is skeptical but knows that I know it's because she doesn't want to see me hurt again. The only thing that is keeping your last name a secret. I haven't even told Sekivara nor Yakuza-san, mainly because it is your right to tell them when you feel like it. It's already problematic with Minerva as a rival. I don't think I want another one, Imogul says. I am interested in meeting Rose-chan. She is very well versed in magic, and her book has been helpful. Irene-san seems protective of you, and it's understandable. I wouldn't want to see someone I care about get hurt. Even Minerva, Issei said. She did train me and help me get more confident in myself, so yes, I care about her, considering that we have been intimate with each other several times. It feels obligated, she said with a blush on her face. I guess so, but the gang in the back probably wonders what you would look like. I never shared any pictures of either of you, since I heard the factions are looking for me. I don't want either of you compromised because of my negligence, Issei said. I see, thank you, Imogul says, smiling, knowing she was protected. Ever since he had saved her from those creatures, she was worried about because her singing rendered him useless, but he told her that he liked it, complimenting her for the song. It made him relax and made it appreciate it. She wanted to go with him, but feared that she may endanger him. She did enjoy singing to his little sisters when he took her to Kyoto to see if there was ways to suppress her sleeping disease. She wanted to do the same for him, so she asked Minerva to train her. She had seen Issei spar with her before and wanted to get on her level. She could handle herself in fights, but not as good as Minerva was in hand-to-hand combat. She was still proficient enough. She did incorporate her water magic into attacks. She heard that current Leviathan involved her own magic to use ice, and heard how Issei's big sister could use it as well, Minerva. She asked for help in contacting Grafia to teach, but knowing her situation, she could only send some notes and use Ross Weiss's book to better her magic and elemental prowess. The two reached the mall and found a parking spot. Since it was break time, it was bumbling the people shopping with people shopping as there was no school at the time. They looked at the map and went to see where they could find a store that Imogul saw that she wanted to go for Gothic lilies. They liked the Leviathan descendant primarily due to the traits of the sacred gear. Either Lilith and Minerva, this was due to Lilith believing that Minerva takes up too much of his time, that means less time for him to play with her, completely forgetting that her spontaneous visits made it easier for Volley to find him. It's on the second floor, Imogul says, pointing it out. Pointing at a spot on the map for a second level of the mall. Well, I guess we can go, Issei said. It looks like the new jewelry store that I want to head to. As the pair walked up the escalators heading to the second level, you think it was a good idea to leave Minerva-san in charge of food duty, Imogul says? It was a completely random question, but it did make Issei stop and think. He began to envision Minerva drugging the food and Imogul loyal to her succumb to her desires. It caused a shiver to go down his spine. Since the food incident that caused Imogul to hook up, there has been a monitoring of Minerva when she cooks. We'll get something from the food corp as an excuse not to eat lunch at home, Issei said, face-palming about forgetting to put surveillance on the lustful mate and continuing walking. We're here, Imogul says, as they stopped in front of the antique store. She walked in and greeted the receptionist and then went to look within a section. Issei simply followed her as she knew that what she was doing, so he watched her to do work. Here it is, Imogul says, holding up a purple knitted bracelet with purple bead. Issei looked at the bracelet. He could see that the two heads looked like dragon heads. He could see why this reminded him of Orpheus or Lilith, as the purple was her main color. It looks nice, Issei says. He took the bracelet to inspect it a little more when Imogul moved to another section. Following after her, found her a different bracelet with black breads and amethyst crystals. So who is that one for, Issei said. He had an idea already, but he was curious to why. It's for Orpheus. Did you know that a spiritual meaning amethyst is groundness, tranquility, and calm, Imogul says? Actually, no, I didn't. But I see how it represents Orpheus based on the explanation. She always preached out about silence and is usually calm despite the noise around her, Issei said. Imogul replied. She took both bracelets and went to the receptionist with Issei to pay. As they were heading towards the jewelry, Issei's phone began to ring. So he took out of his pocket and he saw he had a text notification at the top. The person who was calling was his mother, so he answered. Hello, Issei said. Hi, dear. Are you around the girls? Miki said. Hey, Kasan, we're fine. How is Yakudo treating you? Ito-san, Issei said. It's been wonderful. You should come here sometime. Maybe some other time. Anyway, we were planning on heading to Ko. The girls wanted to meet my friends in person, Issei said. Oh, that's nice, Miki replied. But first, grabbing some gifts before heading to Ko. Spending some time there. I see you have picked them up yet, Miki said. Handling it, Issei replied. Then I'll leave it to you. Take care. Love you. Love you too, Kasan. And then the call, Issei did. After he hung up, he saw the text notification was from Kiba asking about how he would be in Ko because he was preparing for a mission. Issei pondered about it as he was not sure when Sigivare would get the Steam Deck, so he texted back with Kiba that he would check back with him later. Issei and Imogul arrived at another jewelry store, and when they got there, Issei showed the necklaces he wanted to get. Imogul-chan, can you find these necklaces? Issei said. I'm going to look around for anything else that could may catch Minerva's eye, showing the pictures on the phone. Okay, Imogul replied, though she was a bit suspicious of his behavior since they never left her side when they are together, but she trusted his judgment and left. Issei then started looking around, until he found a cashier and went to ask him a question. Excuse me, I have a question, Issei said. Yes, how can I help you? I placed an order for 5 rings, looking for Imogul, making sure she was not in earshot. The problem is that Imogul had a knack of escaping his senses, as she could disappear and Issei wouldn't be able to trace her presence, so he had to make sure that she remained in his vision. This way he could keep track of her and could see that she was looking at him, so he smiled and waved. She's a beautiful girl. What's the name of the order? Turning her gaze from Imogul. Issei Hyodo. Still keeping track of Imogul. Okay, can I get an ID, please? Yeah, here. Taking out his wallet to give his ID, quickly turning back to Imogul to make sure she was still in place. Thank you. Okay, give me a minute. I'll be back with your order. Thank you, Issei replied. Turned back to the cashier and took his ID to put it back in his wallet and put in his pocket. When he turned back to where Imogul was, she was gone. Shit, Issei said, trying to remain calm. He looked around and luckily found her in another spot of a jewelry store, still looking for the necklaces. Okay, here you go, the cashier says, coming back with a bag, giving it to him. That girl's lucky to have a guy like you around. Hope my boyfriend spoils me like this to do with her. Thanks, Issei said. Spoil me how? Imogul appearing out of nowhere behind Issei. It took all of his willpower not to jump in fear because of her stealth capabilities. She was much better than he was. He kind of wished that Rainier could witness this, but she left before he met Invigold. Nothing. Just wanted to give you the best in this new age with me, Issei said. It made Invigold blush because those words were what she told him. When he saved her and he made a deal to keep her disease at bay. She did not know what the deal was, but she told him she wanted to live in his new age with him and accepted her as Minerva did. As did Minerva. Oh, I see. Well, I found necklaces you showed me, showing a necklace with a foxtail that made the other half of the heart and a gold, hollow fox, and a tail encrusted in diamonds. Thank you, Invigold. Taking them and handling them to the cashier, we'd like these as well, Issei said. After paying for the items, they headed back to the car, but they did feel like they were forgetting something. However, Invigold was curious about what Issei had got before she showed him the necklaces. Issei-san, what was it that you got from Minerva? Invigold says. It's a surprise, can't tell you, otherwise she would try to seduce it out of you, Issei said. Wouldn't she be able to do that with you? Invigold replied. She doesn't know that I got her anything. She only knows that we went shopping for the girls in Kyoto, so don't tell her about it, okay? Issei says. Okay, if you say so. She sounded convinced to Issei, but she could not help but wonder why Minerva would want 5 rings. The drive home was rather silent because Invigold was trying to process the bits of the conversation she had heard between Issei and the cashier. At the same time, she could not help but wonder what she was forgetting. Issei-san, do you feel like we forgot something? Invigold says. Now that you mention it, yeah, I do. I just don't know what yet. As he activated the ramp, the underground garage, and the gates, they pulled into the garage. As Issei took the bets, he didn't want to see Invigold see the rings. However, she knew that she would want to help, so he let her take the bag that had the bracelets. As she entered the house, and the air smelled of delicious food from various meats and spices in the air. It was then they realized they forgot, which was to eat at the mall. In fear of eating Minerva's food, being in her grasp from initiating whatever she put in the food in the mood. They slowly made their way up to the stairs towards the kitchen. The food smelled delicious. That was the bait. They could see the table was set, and it was weird. And then Minerva made both lunch and dinner, as there was rice, beef, chicken, noodles, and roasted vegetables. They were only gone for a few hours, so they were shocked how Minerva could make so much in that time. Not only was the food waiting for them, so was Minerva, in a dark blue dress apron. Sorry, I couldn't help myself, Minerva said. So it looks like we got dinner and lunch ready. Did you get the gifts? Yeah. Wow, the food looks fantastic. Thank you, Minerva said. The thing is, we just ate at the mall, so we don't need to eat. It was a lie. They could hope that Minerva would buy it. I figured you would say that. As she set down a plate of food, the two were shocked, but they didn't want Minerva to catch on to the lie. You did? Yes, you two figured that I would drug the food, and we could have a threesome until neither of us got our legs working, especially after I did that, which caused you two to get together. I know that I can be lustful most of the time, as you both attractive to me, so I want to give you all to you both. As she walked up to them and kissed them both in their stunned states. She still gets tongue-tied when she and Minerva kiss. Look, I did not drug the food, you are right, Minerva says. I need to keep my lust down. I mean, I did well by not teleporting into either one of your showers for a quickie. I guess that's true, Issei said, and I wanted to make up for it. You both accepted me for who I am. I was once your enemy's ally, but you still grew to love me, pointing at Issei, and our training sessions in magical and physical training got us to know each other. Break you out of your shell and grow your confidence, now pointing to Invigold. That's true, Invigold replied, so trust me, I did not drug the food. This is going to be our last day just as 3, so I wanted to make the best of it. She had a smile on her face. It was gleaming. You're right. Thank you, we are a family, and not just the 3 here. We have an extended family as well, and I can't wait for you to meet them, but this is our day, Issei said. We could chill in our PJs and eat food and watch movies all day, Minerva says. So then why the sundress? Issei replied. Oh, did you prefer me in my booty shorts and prancing around in the kitchen? I was trying to look at the part of a housewife waiting for her family to come home, Minerva says. You were hoping for some action, weren't you? Invigold says, deadpanning. She was catching onto Minerva's hair since she has been caught in a few times. Don't we all? Minerva said, smirking at Leviathan's descendant. Hey, let's just enjoy the meal, do some packing, and enjoy the day. Tomorrow we head to Kyoto and spend some time before we head to Ko. The two ladies shrugged and listened to the man of the house as Issei and Invigold placed the gifts away. Issei went to the shared room and hid the rings in the suitcase that he would use to pack things. He would come down and sit with the girls to enjoy his meal, kissing both of them in their hands. He could not wait to meet his friends again. He just didn't know that it would be sooner rather than later. And that is the end of Chapter 7. And that is where we're going to stop for now, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys did again once enjoying this video. I think this one was not an hour and probably like 45 or 47 minutes is what it seems like. Or 40 something, I know that. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Remember to hit the like button. Let's try to hit 300 to 400 likes once again. That'd be absolutely amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all the support to my Balance Breakers, Limit Breakers, and Juggernaut Drive members, as well as my Patreon members. I also released What If Issei Was Alone on there. And so yeah, thank you so much for the support. I seriously cannot thank you guys enough. It's been awesome recording just all the time. And if you haven't noticed yet, I am a little sick. So once again, thank you for the support, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.